even when the federal government now is thinking of looking at how to encourage production locally, and one of the ways we're saying is we have to stop price fixing. If you say there's no subsidy, we still can't find another way, another alternative. Have you suggested another alternative way the federal government can encourage production of crude, of petroleum products here locally?
Yes.
Without getting its hands involved in the business?
It has, look, okay, before, when the House was investigating this issue of electricity, the government had sunk $16 billion into NETS, Nigerian Integrated Power System. Who was going to run those things? We have, look, each time the government talks about all this, the regulation of the telecommunication sector and all that. We had, when the GSM companies came, they used the NITEL backbone. If you expect private investors to conduct pipelines for you to conduct the crude from where it is to where they are going to refine it, you are asking for the money. So the government has to use our resources properly. Let them use the money. Let them build these refineries. Hand them over to management. Management agencies to manage the refineries for us. We have enough money. I always give the example of that woman in my village who sells food. He sells rice. Ebupo. Okay. You need to cook right now. Now, when he finishes cooking, he feeds his children. She feeds her children from the food before she leaves the house. And it is from whatever she now said that she makes her profits. God has endowed this nation with this crude. Okay? And we are told that we consume about 450,000 barrels of this crude. Now, like that woman who gives her children a brupo, that 450,000 barrels should be, we are not saying they should give it to us free of charge, but let them take it out there. I read an analysis by someone, I can't remember the chap's name now, and his own argument was that, okay, this 445,000 barrels, how much of it do we actually refine here? We sell part of it at the international price. So the money that we realize from that, let them use it to now carry this 450,000 barrels out there to go and refine, bring it back to us.
Okay. So if government were to announce a reduction in the salaries of political office holders or public servants,
yes,
as it were, do you think the people will immediately believe it, or how will it affect our attitude to governance and security?
It's okay. We let them have the courage to announce it first. Look, I just told you that in the First Republic, ministers and, less than their palm sex. Let the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Economy tell us how much each minister takes home at the end of each month. And then, okay, the budget, 2012 budget, budgeted 1 billion naira for the kitchen in the State House. That comes to, well, if anybody has a calculator here can check that. That comes to 910,700 naira per meal. You know, we are in a leap year. There are 366 days in the leap year. So much, you now divide, that's 1 billion by 1,098. It comes to 910,700 naira per meal in a country where people are feeding from the baggage dip.
I didn't get whose budget for food.
The budget for the State House for 2011 is put at 1 billion for the State House kitchen.
This is assuming that
we
know the number of people who are actually going to be benefiting from that, and we know that it's not as simplistic as that. But
what we are told that it's for the President and the Vice President.
Mr. Sopitan, yes, let's look at. You've said that we're treating the symptoms rather than the disease, or instead of the root cause. What exactly is causing it? When somebody is ill, what do the doctors attack first? Is it not the symptoms? For instance,
they will look at the symptoms to tell you to not be able to get at the root.
But assuming somebody has malaria and you're running a temperature, you have a headache, you have a fever. What do they do first? Don't they try to bring down the fever first before they begin to pump you with the malaria drugs?
Okay, yes. But I'm saying that they will still eventually have to go to the to give you the malaria drug.
You seem to be suggesting that we should attack the malaria head on, and no. About the fever.
No, I'm saying that look, what we are doing now is to attack this. We are treating the symptom. We are now saying that you are bringing down the temperature forever. I'm saying that all these problems we have on our hands are a result of past neglect. Look, all you need to become a millionaire in this country is to be in governance. Even in local government, you have all sorts of pay now. You have a surveillance pay. The Fed of State is entitled to forecast. He has a the mere fact that you happen to have ruled the nation for 4 years does not mean that you should now have the key to the nation's treasury. So the other day, one 80-year-old man died on the queue in Ibadan, queuing for 1,000 naira pension in this same Nigeria, where people are being paid, councillors being paid millions as civilians pay. We never heard about that before. These military people, in 1978, we had this Land Use Act that was smuggled into the system so that somebody can acquire all the farmland in Nigeria. There's this body now, they call it revenue mobilization and whatever.
RMAFC.
That thing has no business in this nation. Why should we have a decent scale for people who claim to be serving us anyway? They can do that job for 1% of what they are taking now. If all of them say they cannot do it, I will go to the Senate and live on my pension. So I'm saying that we are talking of misapplication of our resources. That's why we have all these problems we have on our hands. That's why we have a lot of youth who have nothing to do, who now risk their lives to go and become suicide bombers. That's why you have people we have all this resiveness in the Niger Delta. And this bloodshed that we're talking about, the Boko Haram one is one of them. There's so much bloodshed in this nation.
So now this is the last edition of our program for this year.
Right.
We're looking at 2012 now.
Right.
Considering the plethora of problems that we have, which would you suggest that we tackle first?
You know something? President Jonathan will write his name in gold in this country if he had the courage to convene a national conference. That is because we need a new constitution. The constitution we have now is a lie anyway, because the soldiers, it was a decree. We had had the elections before the constitution even came abroad. The people didn't know what they were going to implement before that. Now we have a system that out of 4.7 trillion, 2.7 trillion is for maintenance of people in office. So it's really tragic when you talk of this nation. Is a very stupendously rich nation. God has been so kind to us. God gave us everything except leadership.
But do you think he will still write that name in gold if he calls for the conference and politicians don't show up because they like their lives? This bomb scare.
No.
Would they still come?
Look, if we call the I can assure you, people like, I know there are some people who died, like, today's the man of the year for which paper is that? Is Achebe. Such a person, I'm sure if you want him to come to I will go to such a conference, because we need to really address the issues that are bothering this nation. These people who are in position, they are there just to further their own nest.
But you agree that it's a good thing.
Yes.
But you would agree that it's a good thing that we're talking about everything now, because, if they wanted to act the way that it was once, they would have just removed the subsidy without asking anyone to bring his own views
something
on it.
Again, in the Bible, when Rehoboam was to take over from his father, he promised the people that his father beat them with whips, that he will beat them with scorpions. We know who this person's father is. So that the person we had, whom we are talking of, just putting this, we have been told that we are being consulted, but are we actually being consulted? We are being they are trying to persuade us. But I've told you, let them tell us how much they voted for this publicity on this issue of subsidy withdrawal. That money could have been used more usefully.
Mr. Sopitan.
You see what?
I was going to ask a particular question.
Yes, go on.
Not just on fuel subsidy now, but on the security situation.
Yes.
You know, we're talking about the president, you know, not being. Sorry, guys, you guys are distracting me. Well, we're talking about not just fuel subsidy removal now,
yes.
We're also talking about the security situation. In this particular instance, I was asking you earlier on what you advised the president to do in this particular instance. Which one of the problems should we be attacking first?
Oh, sure.
And you're talking about convening a national conference. Right. It does happen that a host of people have said that there is nothing wrong with our constitution. Do you agree that there's nothing wrong with our constitution?
Of course, there's something wrong with your constitution.
What is wrong? Is it because we did not sit down as a people to do it? Some people have said if we just conducted a referendum on it, ask people to look at it, and then we can come out and conduct a referendum rather than the sovereign national conference.
I didn't say sovereign. You know, it is the sovereign issue that is causing the wala.
So it doesn't have to be sovereign,
or dollar,
but it has
or
to
penny.
be a conference.
Look, the national conference will look. There's no place. I would not subscribe to a constitution that will have a RAF mark in place, for instance, that will be recommending 8 million naira for senators. Why do you have to have a different set of salaries for people who are?
But that is not in the constitution.
The RAF mark thing is a part of the constitution. It was thing that was.
I'm saying that the salaries, the emoluments of senators and members of the House of Representatives is not a part of the constitution.
It is not. But that body is a part of the constitution. So all members of parliament should also be regulated by whatever our salary structure is. I told you that in the First Republic, ministers earned less than palm sex. These days, ministers are people who are, minister is supposed to be somebody who is our servant. Minister is derived from the Latin word minister, which means servant. So, but in this nation, ministers are the laws. All you need to do to become a millionaire in Nigeria is just to get into government, and you've had it made.